But tonight, our top focus is the unprecedented move that has been made in Parliament. The Lok Sabha Speaker, Sumitra Mahajan, has today suspended 25 Congress MPs for continually disrupting Parliament despite repeated warnings. The Congress has cried foul over the Speaker's move. Party President Sonia Gandhi has called it a black day for democracy. Addressing party MPs this morning, Mrs. Gandhi has also mounted a fierce attack on the Prime Minister, accusing him of a deafening silence, and said the champion of Man Ki Baat appears to have retreated into a Maun Vrat. All-party meeting has failed to break the stalemate, and starting tomorrow, the Congress as well as other opposition parties intend to boycott Parliament. Ashar Khan and Kamaljit Sandhu now report on our top story tonight.
I am naming all of you. Please keep all these posters outside and go to your seat.
An unprecedented step by the Lok Sabha Speaker as the sound and fury show continued in both houses of Parliament even as the monsoon session crosses the halfway mark. As disruptive politics was shown the door, others in the opposing fray too joined hands with the 25 Congress MPs suspended, declaring a boycott for the next 5 days.
हम पिछले 2 हफ्तों से अपनी आवाज़ उठा रहे थे, लेकिन आज हमारे आवाज़ को कुचलने की कोशिश की गई.
As Sonia added more opposition firepower to her parliament ammunition, her message to her party was clear: no discussions without any resignation.
Sonia Gandhi drew the battle lines just before the parliament reconvened for the day. Asserting that her MPs spare no line of attack, the Congress president said that the man who does Man Ki Baat has now become a Maun man.
While the External Affairs Minister finally spoke out on the allegations in Parliament, her clarification was drowned out in the din of the upper house.
मैं कभी भी ललित मोदी के यात्रा दस्तावेजों के लिए ब्रिटिश सरकार से रिक्वेस्ट नहीं की.
Sushma's intervention paved the way for the monsoon session's most explosive face-off yet.
एक सदस्य के खिलाफ या एक मंत्री के खिलाफ पिछले 2 सप्ताह से रोज आरोप और बेबुनियाद आरोप लगाए जाते हैं, और वो मंत्री खड़े होकर कहता है कि मुझे जवाब देने का हक है, तो ये विपक्ष नहीं कह सकता कि मंत्री को जवाब देने का अधिकार नहीं है. अगर सुषमा जी के 3 मिनट के जवाब से हालत इतनी खराब हो गई है, तो पूरा जवाब देंगे तो आपकी क्या हालत होगी, अब ये स्पष्ट है.
Is run as per the rule book. When it comes to हालात खराब होना, ये समय बताएगा, और आप अपनी याददाश्त ठीक रखें. We have been victims of the baseless and malicious allegations.
With another day washed out, the cost of a non-starter monsoon session has crossed 100 crore of the taxpayers' money. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meet again tomorrow.
And my first guest tonight on the news today is Venkaiah Naidu, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. I've spoken to him a short while ago. I began by asking him the big question, sir, as a Parliamentary Affairs Minister, do you believe you've done the right thing suspending the members of the Congress? 25 MPs being suspended, unprecedented move, sir, by the Speaker.
The Speaker has called a meeting of all parties and requested all to cooperate in proper conduction of the House. She said you can discuss whatever issues you want, but allow the Parliament to function, no placards and no going to the well. She made repeated pleas, and at the end of the day, as they were not heeding her advice and they were obstructing others also from speaking and then showing placards, the Speaker has taken this action. I don't want to make any comment on Speaker's action because it is a domain of the Speaker, and nobody will be happy to suspend any members, including Speaker. She said it also.
Sir,
but Speaker has to see that the House is conducted as per the aspiration of the people and as per the rules of the House.
The fact though is, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, the Congress is now calling it, or Congress President Sonia Gandhi is calling it a black day for democracy. Other congressmen are saying the Speaker has been partisan. They say that when you were in the opposition, you all would also boycott, you all would also rush into the well of the House, disrupt Parliament. Why only now is there suspension?
what is Black Day? When democracy was murdered, when people were put behind bars, including Jay Prakash Narayan, Moraji Desai, to Atal Bihari Vajpayee, to Advani, to all of us. And then when censorship was imposed on the press, when opposition was put behind bars and parliament was convened and constitutional amendments were made, they should not forget what has happened earlier. And as far as we are concerned, we are very clear that we want the parliament to function, we want the opposition to take part in the house, they should have the liberty to raise the issues they want to raise. The government have called an all-party meeting, myself, earlier, even today also. We made it very clear we are willing to discuss each and every issue, and our ministers are ready to respond. Today I went one step further and said, the Prime Minister, during the course of discussion, if it needed, the Prime Minister will intervene. What else you need? In a democracy, either you talk out or walk out, and sometimes you highlight and show your protest. But at the same time, if somebody is determined, like the Congress party, before the commencement of the session, has openly declared that the session is going to be a washout. That means they are with a predetermined mind.
You know, Mr. Naidu, the Congress on the other hand is saying you have nothing to offer, that you're saying about, you're talking about all party meetings. The Congress says that you have not offered any concrete proposal. Ghulam Nabi Azad claims he even wrote to you, but no concrete proposal came from the government to break this logjam.
These all-party meetings were never held on conditions. I have spoke to Ghulam Nabi Azadi in the morning today after receiving his letter and told him government is willing to discuss every issue. In addition to this, I said ministers will intervene. If you are not satisfied with the minister and if there is a need, the Prime Minister also will intervene. This is what I have said. And they were insisting, no, first resignation, then on a discussion. It never happened. Even earlier, and they are quoting instances where the BJP, according to them, has obstructed the proceedings and all. There was a debate, there was a discussion, there was a FIR registered against ministers, and then were findings of the CAG and other institutions. Then only we asked for action. Here there is nothing against Sushma Swaraj, nothing against Vasundhara Raje. None of my ministers have done anything illegal or immoral. And Sushma Swaraj is one of the best performing minister. And without any reason, without any rationale, you have been running a campaign against her, which is totally unfair. That's why I told him, let us sit together, discuss ways and means. Many of the members in today's meeting said they want to discuss farmers' issues. Some people want to discuss the drought, which has affected the drought, and then also flood, which has affected the death of 70 people. Some people want to discuss about Indo-Bangla Accord and now the exchange of people in those enclaves. And then some people want to discuss about the hostage and kidnapping of Indians in Tripoli, that is Libya. And some people want to discuss about the state issues. So that being the case, how can one party insist on saying that whatever we say, you have to accept your minister has resigned, otherwise house will not function?
Mr. Naidu, but don't you think that through suspension, what you've gone and done by suspending the Congress MPs, you've united the opposition. Now the Trinamool, the NCP, the left, all of them have said they will boycott the next 5 days of this parliament session. Effectively, this monsoon session is a washout.
I don't think so, because they are united earlier also. They fought, some of them fought elections together, lost elections together. And then they have been supporting the Congress party. It is their choice. I have no comment to make on other parties. I can only appeal to all parties, please see that the parliament functions, and let us all try to see that the people's aspirations are met, and then issues, whatever important issues are there, they can be discussed in the House as we discussed earlier also.
But don't you think the suspension, sir, the suspension of MPs, it's an exceptional event. You've gone ahead and done something which is not done normally in Parliament. Do you believe that the Speaker now has set a precedent for the future for any MPs who come into the well of the House repeatedly? They will be suspended?
Suspension is not a happy thing. Even Speaker also is not happy. But there is no way, as she has to conduct the House. Secondly, this is not unprecedented. Earlier, a number of instances, members were suspended. In 1989, 58 people were suspended from the House.
Yes.
58 people. Later, 5 more people were suspended. Then, earlier, last year itself, during this Andhra Telangana episode, almost 12 members of the Telangana side were suspended from the House. And then, for the rest of the session, sometimes, and then 8 Andhra members also belonging to their own party, they have been suspended also. These things have happened earlier an umpteen number of times, an umpteen number of occasions.
Right.
But they should really think about seriously and see to it that they conduct themselves in a befitting manner in Parliament so that the image of Parliament goes up. Simply trying to find fault, it happened during your regime also and all. If it has happened during my regime, if something has gone wrong, should you repeat that wrong? So we should all really come to the conclusion, now going by the mood of the people, the Parliament should be allowed to function, issues should be allowed to be raised, and then we must have meaningful discussion.
I'm going to leave it there, Venkaiah Naidu. I appreciate you as Parliamentary Affairs Minister joining us and giving us your perspective on what is in many ways a sad day, we can call it, or we can call it a sad day for what's happened in Parliament today. And that's exactly why I want to raise the question. Has the time come for you and me, the taxpayers, to say no work, no pay to our MPs? Has that time come? Joining me now, Derek O'Brien, leader of the Trinamool Congress in the Rajya Sabha, Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ajay Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress, and Pinaki Mishra, senior MP of the Biju Janata Dal. I want to come to you, Derek O'Brien, first, because I'm going to play for you 2 images of floods in Bengal along with what has been happening in Parliament. And I want to ask you, do you believe that it is right for your party, the Trinamool Congress, to have decided to boycott Parliament at a time when your state is flood affected? Shouldn't you be raising the real issues of the people, Mr. O'Brien?
Rajdeep, I'm going to answer whatever 2 questions you asked me, but I have to be somewhere at 9 o'clock on another channel, so I've been waiting here from 8:40.
Yes.
You asked me 2-3 questions, I'll answer all of them. For the first one,
Yes.
we want to discuss all issues. We attended the all-party meeting. We have not, in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, Trinamool have not walked into the well of the House even once. We want floods to be discussed. Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, I was hearing his interview. He gave you an edited version of what happened in the in the all-party meeting. We also wanted black money to be discussed. We wanted corruption to be discussed, but he chose not to say those
you're not answering my question.
We also want to be discussed floods. I'm answering your question. But in a parliamentary democracy, if the speaker in a parliamentary democracy, doesn't matter whether those MPs were the Congress, the SP, the BSP, or any party. We feel in a parliamentary democracy, suspending 25 Lok Sabha MPs is not the solution. We feel that there is a better way to go about it. We want discussion, we want debate, we want legislation.
No, you want debate, you want discussion, you also want resignation. But you first want, no, I am not able to understand. You are saying on this program you want debate, you want discussion.
Who said we want resignation?
Then why are you blocking Parliament? Why have you decided to boycott Parliament? Are you saying that you don't agree with the Congress?
Please understand.
Congress is saying first resignation, then discussion. You don't agree with that?
That is not the issue for us. That is not the issue.
So what
for
is the
us.
issue
we want
for you?
Discussion first, resignation can come later.
What is the issue for you?
The issue is parliamentary democracy. Give me a chance. Parliamentary democracy, Rajdeep, cannot run in this way. We are showing solidarity for parliamentary democracy. Suspending 25 MPs is not the solution if you want a debate and discussion. We still think a solution can be found. Throwing the 25 boys and girls outside class is not the solution. This is unprecedented. It should not have happened. That's the point.
If the boys and girls keep disrupting Parliament, Mr. Derek O'Brien, why should we the taxpayers pay for it? Why should we the taxpayers allow wastage of Parliament time which is costing money? If the boys and girls keep disrupting Parliament...
Yes. Yeah, I'll tell you. Mr. Sardesai, let me tell you, for the next 4 days, the Trinamool MPs, 34 MPs, get an allowance of 2,000 rupees a day. For your information, they are not taking the 2,000 rupees, they are not signing on the attendance register. So perish that thought. That's a totally facetious argument. In a parliamentary democracy, any form of protest, I have quotes here from Mr. Jaitley, from Sushma Swaraj, all who have said things like, there are occasions when obstruction in parliament brings greater benefits to the country. My bigger point today is, when the BJP was in opposition, the Congress was in government, parliament was disrupted. Their roles have reversed. Now their roles have reversed, it's still being disrupted. I think the BJP and the Congress both need to do some serious soul searching to find out,
all of you need
the
to do
solution to why and how parliament should run.
All of you need to do it.
Parliament should run.
All of you need to do it. All of you need to do it because all of you are doing the same thing. All of you are not allowing parliament to function.
We are not.
You're not.
We have not been into the well once. We have not raised slogans once. This is a match between the BJP and the Congress.
Okay.
They are doing tu me. You know, you did something right, so now we'll do something wrong. They need to work it out. They need to work it out. They need to get their act together, both these parties.
Okay. On that note, can I bring in Ajay Kumar of the Congress? Mr. Ajay Kumar of the Congress, please tell us, is this a match between the BJP and the Congress, that simply because the BJP, when they were in the opposition, disrupted and demanded the resignation of Congress ministers, we've reached the stage today where every day for the last 2 weeks, your MPs have gone into the well of the House, and today when the Speaker decides to suspend them, you call it a black day for democracy. What is a black day for democracy? Going into the well of the House every day, not allowing Parliament to function? Or is it a black day when the Speaker suspends the MPs?
You know, Rajdeep, if you look at the way Congress has been protesting, taken an example of the land bill also. Finally, the protest at the black law of the land acquisition bill has been taken back by the government. So it's a legitimate way in which we protested. The other thing which we need to also pay attention to it is this is the Gujarat model of running parliament. If you see, the Prime Minister, when he was the Chief Minister in 2013, in Gandhi Jayanti suspended 56 BJP Congress MLAs. And look at the Prime Minister's attitude towards the Parliament. The Parliament is in session, but the Naga Accord is signed at 6:30 in the evening without taking the Parliament into
What does he do? If you don't allow Parliament to function, the Prime Minister... Are you saying the Prime Minister has to stop business?
No.
Are you saying the Prime Minister has to stop business because Parliament is not functioning?
On the Gurdaspur incident, no. On the Gurdaspur incident, no. But I want to ask you, on the Gurdaspur incident, in the Parliament run, 48 bills have been passed in the Rajya Sabha. Just to keep you informed, the question is the arrogance of the government, and it is the way to suppress the voice of the opposition. The opposition in every way, and you look at it, the Prime Minister was not present when the GST, they say, is a very important bill. When the vote was taken for the GST, the Prime Minister was absent. So what is this commitment to democracy and all this hula boo which the Bharatiya Janata Party, they are not committed. They are transforming the Gujarat government of suppressing the voice of opposition and would run it like way the BJP and RSS likes to run their organization, yeah?
Mr. Ajay Kumar, Mr. Ajay Kumar,
because they're not interested, they didn't reach out. You have 3 months to contact.
Mr. Ajay Kumar, let me bring Nalin Kohli. I want everyone to have an equal chance, and I'll get Pinaki also in a moment. Nalin Kohli, the Congress is saying the Gujarat model is being brought to Delhi, to the national capital. The Gujarat model was quite simply this, that Narendra Modi, as Chief Minister, on several occasions, we had a situation in the Gujarat Assembly where opposition MLAs were suspended for an entire session. And this is what is happening, the Congress claims, in Delhi. Your response?
The perfect word in Hindi is sadma. The Congress party is just not able to come to terms with the fact that the people of India and their politics are not in sync with each other. And they have not been able to outgrow themselves from the consecutive manner in which they were wiped out of Gujarat. So they kept making their allegations. The people of Gujarat kept telling them that you are not in sync with us. So the question that arises is, does the Congress party have anything to do with what the people want, or whether they want to function as the family wants? Now that's their right. I can't really question how they would like to run their party. The larger question remains the same. Let's go one by one. They are talking about unprecedented. It's not unprecedented. Mr. Venkaiah Naidu pointed out. It's not a pleasant situation to be able to want to suspend members. Second is they are talking about the land bill. Ajay Kumar is misinformed. The fact of the matter is basic parliamentary courtesy is that you have to wait for the report of the committee. That committee's report hasn't come out and they are making a presumption. Now either they are leaking stuff or they are trying to motivate it. We will follow what is the norm. Let's go to the third issue that they are talking about. We want to discuss, or it's a, we want them to first resign. They are making comparisons of two different situations. When the BJP obstructed, I'll use the word obstructed, there's no running away from that. When we obstructed Parliament, there were legitimate reasons like 2G. The Supreme Court turned down 122 license. It was not zero loss. We've already raised over 1 lakh crores in it. And that's afterwards, when the market is not that high. Let's look at coal scam. Yes, the courts had turned that down to over 2 lakh crores already, which will go to the states of India. So it's for the Congress party to make up what is their strategy.
Why doesn't your Prime Minister reach out, Mr. Nalin Kohli? This is an opportunity for Narendra Modi to reach out, pick up the phone, call up Sonia Gandhi. Ultimately, running Parliament is the government's responsibility, treasury benches. The Prime Minister should pick up the phone. Why can't he pick up the phone and tell Sonia Gandhi, Madam, we need Parliament to function. There are important bills this country needs to pass. Why can't the Prime Minister do that simple thing? Take the initiative himself.
Well, first of all, my Prime Minister, your Prime Minister, our Prime Minister of India is after all working. The Naga peace talks, which Ajay Kumar was actually trying to turn down, is a historic moment in this country.
We'll come
this
to
has
that
been,
later.
No, I'm linking it to exactly what you're saying. The government of India under the Prime Minister is working. After all, the government cannot allow itself to be actually digressed from what it's supposed to do, which is govern. Now, if Parliament is not functioning, something takes place after Parliament hours. Parliament, they are constantly obstructing.
Can the Prime Minister pick up the phone or not? I'm going to ask you one more time. Can the Prime Minister pick up the phone, break his silence on this logjam and speak to Sonia Gandhi?
Every attempt at the logjam is not taking off because the Congress party has come in with a premeditated stand. Even before Parliament started, they said they are not. So is the Prime Minister of India to pander to egos, or is he supposed to pander to what he is there for? Is function for the interest of the nation?
Okay,
and does the Congress
I'll get Ajay Kumar to respond to that. Is the Prime Minister to cater to the ego of Sonia Gandhi, but Pinaki Mishra...
I didn't say that. I didn't say this is Sonia Gandhi. No, it's an incorrect statement.
Pinaki Mishra,
you're Sonia Gandhi. I said, is he to pander to egos? I have not named any.
Okay, just a minute. Pinaki Mishra, as a member of Parliament of the Biju Janata Dal, your party seems to have taken an interesting position. You're not with the opposition, nor are you with the government. Do you believe the Speaker did the right thing today by suspending 25 Congress MPs?
My personal opinion, I have already given repeatedly that when you ask me, is this a precedent for the future? It's a precedent and a very welcome precedent. This is something that should have happened 25 years back, repeatedly in every parliament. I believe every speaker, he or she should have taken this decision in their wisdom. I think this has gone on for far too long, this unedifying spectacle of disruption of parliament. And I believe that
you're saying that if an MP, Pinaki, let me get you right. You're saying if an MP repeatedly goes into the well of the House, the Speaker must suspend them. To that extent, this is a healthy precedent. It's not a black day for democracy.
Unquestionably, this is a healthy precedent. This should have been a precedent set 25 years back. This is my personal opinion, but I have no doubt tomorrow morning when our Biju Janata Dal Parliamentary Party meets as it does on a Tuesday morning, unlike Shashi Tharoor, I'll be very happy to give my free and frank opinion tomorrow morning, and I'm sure it will be accepted by the party. It's our party position. We have never ever entered the well of the House. Naveen Patnaik absolutely refuses to allow that kind of behavior in the floor of the House. He will not countenance it. He says you debate whatever you want to do, you agitate, but you do it from your seat and with full and free speech.
You know, Ajay Kumar, you've just heard what Pinaki Mishra, also a member of the opposition, is saying. He is saying you cannot go into the well of the House and then cry foul if the Speaker decides to suspend you. The Congress can't have it both ways. You want to disrupt Parliament, at the same time if the Speaker gets tough with you for the disruption, you say it's a black day for democracy.
You know, Rajdeep, first of all,
yes,
what do you do to a government which is absolutely deaf? Rajdeep,
They may be deaf, but you've come with a preconceived notion, sir.
Unless you
You're saying the BJP is deaf. They are saying you've come with a preconceived notion before the session started. You will not allow work to take place.
See, Nalin Kohli. So let me complete. So the question is, like Nalin and the arithmetic of the Bharatiya Janata Party, whether it is the growth numbers or even the coal, it is 6,000 crores per year for the next 30 years. But they get their numbers a bit mixed up because they are the master of double speak in communication. And even it's not a question of ego, it's a question of raising people's issue. If Vyapam is an all India, 75 lakh young people have been cheated, 1,42,000 jobs have been given through dubious circumstances. If that Vasundhara Raje Scindia and the black money and the issue of the Jumla of the black money which the Bharatiya Janata Party said, are they not important issues? And if they are not ready to discuss these issues, they only want to talk about it. They
Mr.
said,
Ajay Kumar, the Congress must discuss it.
Session started.
Must discuss it in Parliament, not go into the well of the House. The Congress must discuss these issues, but not go into the well of the House.
Mr. Rajnath Singh, but Rajdeep, Mr. Rajnath Singh started the discussion before the session saying we are not UPA, we are, what he meant to say was we are thick-skinned enough not to resign, we don't care what are the allegations against us. He said there will be no resignation. So are we debating it for a debating society competition? You already presuppose you're not going to take any action.
So what is Parliament
discussing there?
So what do you believe? Is Parliament not a place to discuss these issues? You are coming every night on TV studios, but you won't go and discuss them in Parliament.
It is, but there has to be a result.
There has to be a result.
The discussion has to end up in some decision. If you say that there has to be a result. So what happens if you preempt the result, saying no, nothing will happen? Just come and discuss. We are not coming there to discuss it just for the sake of discussion.
Pinaki Mishra,
and second issue is.
Let Pinaki Mishra respond. Pinaki Mishra, the Congress is saying you cannot reduce Parliament. Just a minute, sir. Just a minute. Pinaki Mishra, Congress is saying you can't reduce Parliament to an academic debate. The government must be ready to also reach out to the opposition and consider the demand for resignations. And the BJP is saying that the Congress cannot set preconditions. Where do you stand on this?
Rajdeep, I believe the Congress's demand for the resignation of two chief ministers at the hands of the Prime Minister is completely misconceived. This is the arrogance of the Congress High Command which dismisses chief ministers for the asking. Prime Minister Modi has no right to dismiss Vasundhara Raje or Chauhan. They are duly elected by the legislature parties. How can Prime Minister Modi dismiss them? It's ridiculous. As far as Sushma is concerned, I believe that there should have been a censure motion brought by the Congress. In the Lok Sabha, it would have been defeated. In the Rajya Sabha, it may have succeeded. There would have been a very healthy discussion on the floor of the House. But my point is a little different. This whole principle that if there is no resignation, we will not let Parliament function. It's my way or the highway. This cannot go on. Time after time, and really the BJP has set the agenda, over the last 6 years. They did it in UPA too. And therefore now the Congress is playing tit for tat. Parties like us, we have 20 MPs in Parliament. We are quite capable of disrupting Parliament. Why don't we do it? We don't do it because that's not our ethos. We have a lot of angst. We had a lot of angst against the UPA government. We have a lot of angst against this government. But we call for debate in the House. We write letters, we go and meet ministers, we meet... Look, accountability ultimately in Parliament has to be at the hands of the people. You cannot have the opposition ask for accountability on the floor of the House by saying resign first. If ministers are corrupt, they will be taught their due lesson, just deserts by the people and by the legal processes.
That's interesting that you say that accountability has to come either at the ballot box or accountability comes from the courts. But the question is, at a time when there is growing public anger over the kind of scenes that we are seeing, Nalin Kohli, I'm going to ask you, are you all willing now to, are you realizing that there is this breakdown of relations at the very top? You saw what Sonia Gandhi had to say about Narendra Modi today. She has called him Maun Modi in the Congress Parliamentary Party. You've seen how Mr. Modi has made no effort to reach out to Sonia Gandhi. Am I to understand that there is a breakdown between the Congress and the BJP and the country is going to pay the price for it? Bills, goods and services tax, other important legislation will suffer because the top leaders of the two parties simply cannot break the ice. That's the truth.
BJP is open. And the BJP has consistently been saying, come discuss. If there's anything and any change that needs to come in it, after all, Parliament is where that change is initiated in any legislative business that needs to be transacted. And if it's in the interest of the country, certainly. But there can't be any kind of approach in terms of what you're saying that, I think it's the government has an agenda to govern the country. The opposition has an agenda to be a check on the government and to see that everything happens in the interest. Now, if the opposition decides that it doesn't want the government to perform and it doesn't want Parliament to perform, then that is something that the opposition has to answer, not the Prime Minister of India. Secondly, yes. Just another comment, yes. That I find it almost humorous that, the Congress party stands up and says, we would like to censure ABC. Now, how do you judge without even a legal process? Picking up from what Pinaki said, this is like sounding the sentence and then say, let the trial begin after the sentence. Now, that doesn't happen. You are turning jurisprudence on its head. So that's fascinating for the Congress party to come to this. Perhaps somewhere, yes. The Congress party's entire stance has to do with their own internal dynamics. Perhaps it really has nothing to do with Parliament or the rest of the country. Perhaps that is what they are trying to do.
I'm going to give 30 seconds at the end to you, Ajay Kumar, since the Congress today is the one which has had its MPs suspended. Let me ask you this. Does the Congress party want to work with the Narendra Modi government, or has the Congress party decided that Narendra Modi is a Prime Minister we will not work with? Let's be clear. Is this about Sonia Gandhi's almost pathological, a certain pathological hatred, dare I use the word, towards Narendra Modi?
No, not at all, Rajdeep. I think, first of all, I would like to create Nalin's misconception. Look, as far as Sushma Swaraj goes, she tweets, they will find nothing wrong, so they will not institute a commission, they will not get it inquired. She breaks all the law, but it's okay because we are the government, we will not put up an inquiry, we will not register FIR, so I'm innocent. That's their style. The second issue, the internal dynamics of Bharatiya Janata Party is what they should be concerned. I think it is much worse as far as Madhya Pradesh and all of the state goes. So I won't make a comment on that. We want to work with the government. If it's ready to work with us, we want to work with the land bill. Look at their arrogance. And nothing is leaking out. It came in all the TV channels. If Nalin was paying attention, like running on the TV channel,
I'm going to leave it there.
The amendments are being taken back, and that's what I heard from the TV, saw from the TV. So there is nothing leaking from that. We want to work, but let them listen to us. And secondly, let them get out of the high horse and arrogance. That will do a lot of good.
I don't know who is. Each one of you is calling each other arrogant. This is typical of what we are seeing in Parliament. Each of you is calling each other arrogant, and Pinaki in the middle is smiling. But go ahead with a quick 10-second. I
think the proverbial the cat is out of the bag. It's, I think, all about TRP, because that's exactly what the Congress party is alluding to. It's sound bites, TRP rhetoric. In the meantime, the country was suffering because they are more concerned about.
I want to leave it there.
You guys are more obsessed on Twitter.
I want to leave it there. It is a sad commentary of our politics. If politicians are going to call each other arrogant to the point where each of them will not allow Parliament to function, no work, no pay. It only costs though 2,000. The parliamentarians are paid 2,000 rupees a day. So it's not going to really hurt their budget. So no work, no pay may not be a real solution. The real solution has to be some new mechanism to get the government and the opposition to work together. I appreciate my guest joining us on what is, as I said, a sad day for the Indian Parliament. Okay, breaking news that's coming in, important development that's taken place this evening, because the Narendra Modi government seems ready for a big climb down on its flagship land acquisition bill. Government sources now telling India Today that the government is all set to revert to some of the clauses of the UPA government's 2013 land acquisition bill, which means that you could have a possible reversal and back to the old. Remember, Narendra Modi government has brought in various amendments to the Congress's land acquisition related laws, but now it appears that the government is going back on their commitment to change the land law. Javed Ansari, our national editor, joining us. Give us a quick update, Javed. Is it clear that the government now will backtrack on this land acquisition bill that Mr. Modi has been pushing?
Yes, indeed, Rajdeep. We are given to understand by sources high up in the BJP who involved in the decision-making process. The government has done a cost-benefit analysis and it realizes that it is in their interest to pull back. What they will do is probably leave it to the state, each state to enact its own land acquisition law. This has been prompted for two reasons. One, some states, namely Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh, have entered into agreements which are beneficial. They've acquired land. Chandrababu Naidu acquired about 30,000 acres. And two, because of the ground realities, this has become a highly unpopular move, and they do not have the numbers in Rajya Sabha to push this through.
Okay, there's also, of course, the question of the Bihar election and a feeling that this land acquisition bill, as the NDA government was framing it, was being seen as anti-farmer. Let me bring in Venkaiah Naidu, because I spoke to the Parliamentary Affairs Minister on this and asked him, has the government, Mr. Naidu, agreed to the opposition demand on the land bill? Are you going back to the original 2013 land bill, sir?
When the Parliament is in session, you are not supposed to make any policy statement outside. Secondly, this issue has been referred to a joint committee. The joint committee meetings are going on. So as a Minister of Parliament Affairs, I cannot violate the protocol and say something outside. The government has been clearly saying that the government is willing to go by any meaningful suggestion.
Right.
And if there is a way to arrive at a broad consensus, the government is willing. Let me also take this opportunity to tell the people the government has been willing to walk an extra mile to meet the demands of the opposition. Be it GST, which was approved unanimously by Lok Sabha. We agreed with the opposition demand to refer it to a select committee.
Right.
Be it a real estate development bill, which was referred to standing committee earlier, came back because the Congress insisted, refer it to select committee again, we'll pass it at the earliest, it was referred. Then with regard to land bill, which was approved by the Lok Sabha in an overwhelming majority, almost 3/4, government is keen to have the land bill, but still as a mark of respect to opposition, their wish, we referred it to a joint committee.
Right.
So this all shows the commitment of a give and take approach of the government vis-a-vis opposition. But they have been really uncharitable. They have been obstructing the House. They have been raising slogans against our Prime Minister and then bringing placards demeaning the stature of the Prime Minister. This is not acceptable in a democracy. They have got every right to criticize us. They can protest also, but at the same time there are certain limits. Earlier, when the issues have gone to such an extent where the government was not even willing to take action or proceed further after the CAG has made report, after the courts have taken cognizance, after FIRs were registered, for example, against A. Raja, FIR was registered by that government. Then we demanded discussion and then action. So they can't simply quote,
right.
"Aapne ye kiya, humne wo karenge." Then people are saying that during NDA regime about Ayodhya, how many times you disrupted Parliament? On Gujarat, how many years you disrupted Parliament? And then, so there is no purpose will be achieved by NDA people talking about UPA people talking about NDA. It's over now. People of the country are becoming restive.
Okay.
They want Parliament to function.
Okay. Venkaiah Naidu, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, also joining us. Javed Ansari with that piece of breaking news on a possible climb down by the government on the land acquisition bill. Now, while the government, Narendra Modi government appears to have faced a setback on its land bill war, there's been a historic step that's been taken by the Modi government this evening. In what is being seen as a big breakthrough for the peace push for the Northeast, the government has signed an accord with the National Socialist Council of Nagaland's Isaac Muiva faction. The pact was signed in the presence of the Prime Minister, Home Minister Rajnath Singh and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval by the outfit's leader, Mr. Muiva, and the government's interlocutor R.N. Ravi at the Prime Minister's residence. The signing is the culmination of over 80 rounds of negotiations that spanned 16 years, with the first breakthrough in 1997 when the ceasefire agreement was sealed.
I have the deepest admiration for the great Naga people, for their extraordinary support to the peace efforts. I compliment the National Socialistic Council of Nagaland for maintaining the ceasefire agreement for nearly 2 decades with a sense of honor that defines the great Naga people.
Today, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, we have come close to understand each other and have a new relationship between the two parties on the basis of the uniqueness. We appreciate your wisdom, your leadership, and your vision to build an enduring relationship between the Nagas and Indians.
So what does this really mean, this big agreement that has been signed between the NSE and IM group and the government of India? Joining me now, Kishaloi Bhattacharjee, senior journalist and perhaps one of the country's now foremost experts on Northeast affairs, written extensively on the region. Appreciate your joining us, Kishaloi. Is this, as the Prime Minister puts it, a historic agreement? Do you believe that this means the end of violence in Nagaland in particular?
Not really, Rajdeep. I wouldn't call it historic, but I'll call it significant. Significant because it's been going on for such a long time, as you mentioned, 80 rounds of talks, such a long time, 2 decades almost, to come to a resolution with one of the strongest militias in the region out there. That's the significant one. Number 2 is that a lot of other groups, smaller and bigger groups, which some of them were set up by the NSE and IM and have been on record saying that they will come for talks with the government of India only after they see how the government of India has been treating NSE and IM. So this resolution is going to pave way for talks with the other groups in the region, and there are scores of other groups waiting to come to the talk table. Third, I think simply the fact that NSE and IM for so many years was legitimately being on, coming over ground, legitimately carrying out illegal taxation, intimidation, abduction, etc. Now that a resolution has been arrived at, probably they'll have to leave the camps, give up arms, come and join the mainstream. So the people of Nagaland will be actually much more relieved having this resolution come out there. But there are tricky issues out here.
One of those tricky issues that for 18 years, of course, you've had some kind of a ceasefire agreement that has been in place through various governments that the NSE and IM has dealt with. However, as you said, there are other groups, NSE and Kaplang. Many believe that the NSE and Kaplang today, supported possibly by Beijing, is the one which has been responsible for recent